Welcome to episode 23 of Ring Talk, the weekly Goodwin Boxing show with myself, Martin Theobald, and with Steve Goodwin, the head of Goodwin Boxing. We're going to run through with you a number of new signings. We're going to take a look at the questions that have kindly been sent in by yourselves, the viewers. We're going to preview a bit of the upcoming shows for May, because you've got two coming up. We'll start off chatting about the weekend's boxing. So there was the Ultimate Boxer, so prize fighter style knockout tournament up in Manchester.
Yeah.
Did you catch any of it?
Or still?
Even Big Nasty?
I'll tell you. I did. I actually was out on Saturday night, so I came back and watched it. But I did use the fast forward button through that.
I was skipping between the Dennis Hobson show on
Spike.
No,
it was on. No, it was Free Sports.
Free Sports, sorry, and then that was on Spike. And I just flicked back to Ultimate Nasty, Big Nasty, shouting obscenities at a crowd. I thought
didn't really get that.
Yeah, like I get that it's a hybrid of entertainment and boxing, but is that entertainment? It didn't do a lot for me. But
no, not me.
Then when they panned out to the crowd and I saw the demographic of the crowd, I thought, well, they're a lot younger than I am, and maybe they appreciate it. But anyway, the action in the ring. What did you? The kind of rebirth of prize fight.
Well, I love that concept. I felt that the selection of boxers, they went for this undefeated thing.
Yeah.
And I think that where Eddie Hearn had the advantage was he would take a mixture of the young, hungry fighters and he'd mix it in with some of the experienced pros that everybody knew.
Yeah.
It does not work with a bunch of people you haven't heard of.
That's fair.
So, in my opinion, it's a good concept, and I hope, and they are going to continue with it. But whoever decided to, and again, I know Carl was promoting doing the fighters. I know there's quite a few Calgary fighters on there, and the concept was to do that. And I think that there's nothing for putting in. If you're picking, I'm just using names because I managed him, but you're doing a welterweight, want someone like a John O'Donnell or somebody that, somebody that's.
Frankie Gavin.
Somebody that people know and have had that adds to it. So I think if they do it again, they need to change the concept and do it that way. If they're going to continue doing these unknown, unheralded fighters, I don't think it will catch on. Because
you'll draw in boxing fans anyway by putting free-to-air Friday night boxing on. It's that peripheral, the ones that are just that kind of semi-boxing fans that aren't going to be attracted by Tom Young, Isaac McLeod. Those that may recognise Frankie Gavin's name and say, well, actually, I'll watch that.
Well, Isaac McLeod is the one that the boxing purists know.
Yeah.
But Isaac McLeod was always considered to be a bit vulnerable, and it happened to him. But he wasn't somebody that people would know at home.
No.
And I think you should have got in, even the Peter McDonoughs of this world. People like that should have been in it. You need that mixture. So whoever's advising them to do it that way, I think that was an error. But it is their first one. I hope that they change it for the next one.
Yeah.
And they get a mixture of the types of fighters that they need to make that a big success. But I think Prize Fighter was a good success. It was overdone in the way they did it, but I think if they do something 3 or 4 times a year, it can work. But you have to get different types of fighters than they got on Saturday.
I think Prize Fighter was rinsed far too heavily by the end of its tenure on Sky, but it served a purpose to build up the platform that Hearn could then build from.
Totally.
As you say, by the time the likes of Tom Farrell won the one up in Liverpool, I'm not sure. By that point, it had kind of drained and run its course. But I'm all in favour. I like to an extent the undefeated young guys, but a mixture of.
You could have 4 or 5 of them.
Yeah.
But have at least 3 known fighters.
I enjoyed that Tom Young though.
Yeah, he was great. but there's lots of those Tom Youngs, these ex-unlicensed boys coming in.
Yeah.
But the only thing is, I liked it, but you've got the whole show based around that type.
Yeah.
Drew Brown and. They are kids, but it's not the same. You need to have a mixture, and that was why, if I was rating out of 10, I'd give it 6.5, and it should have had 8 or 9. But hopefully next time they'll cure. They can't keep going with all these undefeated fighters. It doesn't. Yeah. It won't work for them long term.
And did you see any of the Dennis Hobson show from?
Really, Nicky Genman. I like Nicky Genman.
Shouldn't have been in that ring.
Shouldn't have been getting. Really, a Commonwealth title fight.
Yeah, I know it was a late replacement, wasn't it? It was like 2 weeks' notice.
But Nicky's not at that level to fight Liam Cameron.
Yeah.
And I don't feel that the Commonwealth Council...
Well, there wasn't a Commonwealth title fight in the end, was it?
Only because he missed weight. But Nicky really, you've got to remember, he beat Taylin Jones, lost to Grant Dennis for the Southern Area title. Yeah,
he recently lost the IBO Intercontinental shot.
I guess I don't feel that should have happened. I think that they shouldn't have. I don't think that these governing bodies should allow people that aren't really qualified to fight for these titles. You've got to fight for Commonwealth title. I mean, Wally Camacho is now mandatory for a Commonwealth title. Now you could argue he wouldn't eliminate, but Wally's won everything at Southern Area level, has failed at English level. You could sort of just about, because he keeps winning the Southern Area, justify why he should get a Commonwealth shot. Nicky Gemman, not so much. Yeah,
no, I agree. But with the Hobson show, the production of it, I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan of having TV side tables on boxing. Because it looked like something out of the 70s to me. It was
the same as MTK when they showed that on IFL on Saturday as well. I watched that. The tables go empty.
Yeah,
and it just
that's it.
It looks naff.
It starts to look really empty.
No, I'd agree. I don't think. But I mean, Haye did the tables on one side of the ring,
but he put them right at the back.
And put them out, and it did work, to be honest. And the people there stayed there for the main fights, and that was okay once. But generally, I think
I'm not a fan of it. But
I watched it, and Dennis Hobson's doing a great thing getting it on Free Sports. It's any free-to-air boxing I applaud. So it's just a shame for him that the main fight didn't stick up, and the second fight, the Southern Area title, Craig Derbyshire, just obviously that was what it was.
Yeah, and then over to Spain, the beast of Bilbao, who, I mean, I'm going to start it off because you probably can't say anything. I just think that was ill thought out, sending Bradley Skeete into that arena, and I've seen fights in Bilbao before, and you're talking about an arena where there are clips, you can find them online, where fighters are brought to the ring by like gangs of bikers. It's proper like rogue territory out there. And then you'd send Bradley Skeete out against this guy that, if I'm going to take a punt, I think they didn't know enough about. And that guy, that La Haraja, wow.
Well, I don't know what you feel, but again, Alan Smith, I've got the utmost respect for him as a trainer, and I think I spoke to Alan actually today to see how he was and stuff, and he said we called it wrong. We made a mistake.
In the tactics or taking the fight?
I think he just said we made a mistake. I presume he means taking the fight. I think it was a mistake taking the fight. I think you got the man on the verge of a world title shot. And again, I'm disappointed when these bigger promoters allow an asset like that to go abroad and be basically fed to the wolves. Because, in my opinion, if you look at Bradley Skeete's demeanour in round one, that was not the he looked.
You don't even have to look at round one. Look at the ring entrance when they went down in the conga line and they almost sprinted to the ring. Very fit, and I understand it, I get it, but that team of people to me didn't look sufficient to protect him in that environment. Like, again, I'm not part of that, so I can't really say it with any confidence. But why don't you have 10 people? So, and when you think back to Tyson Fury fighting over in Germany against Klitschko, he had Peter Fury there, he had John Fury. They were out fighting.
But there probably wasn't enough money in it.
Yeah,
because he's going over there. He's not being paid Tyson Fury's money. So not enough money to send an army of people. For me, I've got to be really honest, and I can only say, I'm not Bradley Skeete's manager, but if I was and I was in control, there's no way on earth I would have took that fight. And I said that before. I said it the week before last week when I was talking in the office. I said, I like Bradley. I think he's one of the nicest guys you'll ever meet.
Yeah.
And I just felt sorry for him. And when I saw him in the ring, I felt even more sorry for him, because I thought he doesn't deserve to have worked his career to be suffering this. But obviously, that's a decision of his manager, his promotional team, and obviously Alan is his trainer. But Alan feels he made an error, and Alan is one of the most honest, decent people in boxing.
Yeah.
And he just says it truthfully. He said, we win as a team, we lose as a team, and we've got to. He said, I take all the credit when we win. I've got to take responsibility when we lose. And Alan said that to me today, and I think that's fair. But I would have hoped that his promotional team and would have done a bit more than sending him over to Spain. That's my view.
Yeah.
And by the way, this is not me picking on his promoter, and we know the promoter is, because I think other promoters do the same sort of thing sometimes. But we're talking about Bradley Skeete, and I'm not saying that. I just think it was terrible. And
Bradley he's a stand-up guy. You see him so many times at York Hall, accompanying young lads to the ring, helping them on their debuts. Must be such a warmth for them turning around and seeing Bradley Skeete there. Such a nice bloke for doing it. And just nobody in boxing has a bad word about Bradley, but when you're seeing him doubled over on the canvas,
very sad.
In a place that is 1 o'clock in the morning local time, the place is riotous. You're just thinking, mate, I wish you were at home right now. I wish you were never signed off. I wish you were watching somebody else take that.
Totally. But we can only, the thing that we've got, and I was saying today, I can only do things in the best interest of my boxers. I can look at other people and think I wouldn't have done that, and sometimes there will be the odd occasion where I say I wouldn't have done it and it turns out okay. I think most of the time when I feel I wouldn't have done it, it turns out wrong. I just don't.
Gut feel.
I just didn't see that fight from the start. Didn't get it. Didn't understand it. Didn't know why. It can only have been money, I guess.
They must have thought it was a bit of an easy job. Must have thought it was a padded Spanish record.
Alan Smith is the best judge, and I'm going to say this now, the best judge in the country, bar none. Bar none. The man who I believe is the most knowledgeable man in the country.
And it's a good team, that iBox team.
Yeah, but Alan's taking it. He's taking responsibility for that. And I don't know why they did it, really. But again, I wasn't privy to the conversation, but it's one of those things. On a positive side, I hope that the promotional team get behind Bradley and build him back up again. That's what I hope they do, because he doesn't deserve anything less after suffering that the weekend.
Yeah. All right, let's turn the attention to Goodwin Boxing. A couple of new signings to discuss.
Yeah, two new signings. Poison Kofi Donker, a super featherweight, who's an exceptional talent, and I'm so delighted to have signed him.
Yeah.
And we're looking for great things, and he'll be out in September.
Okay, so it's got a long lead time.
They all have all the ones at the moment, because they're not going to get out before the World Cup. And we don't. I know promoters are staging shows during the World Cup. We think that's
brave.
Brave is a polite word. And the second signing is former Army champion who won 17 out of 20 amateurs, Michael Elliott.
Right.
Really good guy. He's with Brian O'Shaughnessy, who's got a brilliant stable, as we know.
Yeah, I mean, the Brian O'Shaughnessy stables, you've got Lawrence Okoli, Umar Sadiq, Dan Aziz, who was brilliant at the weekend. So it's a great stable to be a part of.
Yeah, and Michael's he's a really exciting addition to our team, and obviously he's in great hands with Brian, so we're really looking forward to him.
So coming out of the Army boxing setup, I don't think people always recognise how professional and how good. Like, to say Army boxing, you think it's probably a lad who's out, in the field 4 days a week.
No.
But no, the Army boxing setup, like their fighters win the ABAs. Their fighters are legitimate. Like, some of them almost full-time amateurs, aren't they?
This kid, Mike, was a massive puncher, southpaw, massive puncher. It's going to be really exciting, and he'd be out. Both of these guys will be out in September, and Mike was somebody to look forward to. Kofi Donker more the boxing type. Michael is more of the power punching type. So two totally different.
What weight's Michael?
Michael's going to be middleweight.
Oh, right, so he'll be able to spar the likes of Aziz and Umar Sadiq.
So two exciting additions. We've actually got lots more to add in terms of new signings, but we're doing them gradually because we got so many to announce. So we're announcing 2 to 3 a week.
Yeah.
We've got a backlog of about 6 to come through, so it's very exciting, all the signings that we have.
And so all of these will be coming out September.
All coming in September, and we've got another new signing. We're going to London tomorrow for another new signing tomorrow. So it's great, and they're all quality fighters that have got great futures ahead of them, and it's great that they're coming to us and realising what we're able to achieve for our fighters. So it's fantastic.
Okay, so moving into May now, we've kind of snuck into the month. There are 2 shows coming up that you've got at York Hall. So the first one...
We'll cover the first one today, and then we'll cover the next one in a couple of weeks. So the first one is... Olivia's promoting the Showdown, and the main event is Prospere against Nathan Weiss. It's an English title eliminator. The English title was won by Sam Amazon last week on 21st. So they're battling it out. It's a great fight, that. For both of them, it's a crossroads fight.
There was a question on this, and I've managed not to copy and paste it, so apologies to whoever it was, but I vaguely remember it. Is it that it's now bypassed the southern area? Because I know Sia Osgood was out at the weekend. Is it kind of bypassing the southern area and going to English title, which I think we've discussed?
Well, Kay's 32, 33 years of age. Sia Osgood is a tough fight, and I'm not saying that Kay can't beat Sia Osgood. I think he probably can.
Although, I'm going to say it, because others won't, the Sia Osgood myth about him being this heavy puncher, heavy-handed, I think it's a little bit over-egged, perhaps.
Barry Smith.
Right, I know what you mean.
Barry loves his fighters.
But he's not with Barry now, so maybe
Barry Smith loves his fighters, right? And he's very, very passionate. But to me, Shia is a gym. If what Barry is seeing in the gym is real, and I've got no doubt, then Shia Osgood is a gym fighter, not a ring fighter, because he doesn't bring whatever we're told to the.
So I mean, I've seen Sia live. He's a good fighter. I'm not saying he's a bad fighter, but there was this aura built around him about his power. I've not seen that transpose itself into.
No, I think a good moving boxer beats him.
Yeah. So going back to the fight itself.
So anyway, so the point is, Nathan also has been in the gym with Shia.
Yeah.
And I think that Nathan could also beat Shia, because as long as he keeps out of the way of the thing. So I think these two, Kay Prospere and Nathan Weiss, are both very, very equally matched. And I think the winner goes on to fight to get a crack at the English title with any luck. The bottom line is, Shia Osgood is a tough fight, Sam O'Mason's a tough fight, but if you're in your 30s and with Nathan in his 30s and Kay in his 30s, you need them to move on to bigger things. So the English, if you go Southern area, the next stop's English. Well, if we can somehow do a deal with Sam O'Mason, that would make more sense than fighting Shia Osgood.
Yeah, it's old risk versus reward.
Yeah, totally. So that becomes a possibility. On the other hand, if Sam O'Mason is tied up and we can't get Sam O'Mason, maybe the winner of that fight we go back to Shia Osgood.
Or the loser.
Or the loser goes to Shia Osgood. You could have the loser go for Shia Osgood, the winner we go for Sam O'Mason.
Yeah.
It's about managing. This is the right fight for both lads, but it's not a final eliminator, but it does give you putting in position. Waddy Camacho Danny Cousins was not a final eliminator, it was just an eliminator, but Waddy Camacho then got made mandatory.
Yeah, for the Commonwealth.
So in effect, the eliminators do count. It's just not. It's not as final as a final eliminator.
Yeah. And who else on that card then?
Well, I'm looking forward to Ollie Pattison, who steps up for a challenge belt, and he takes on Harry Matthews, who I think that's a really good fight. Harry's been around, fought everybody, just fought Jamie Cox. He's fought Chris Eubank Jr.
Yeah.
It's a great fight for Ollie, and Harry will come and go. So I think for Ollie, we will see where he is. I think it's a great fight for Ollie.
I've always said it with Ollie, and if you're watching Ollie, I'll stand by it, and I'll see you, and you'll probably whack me for it, whatever. I want to see you show that spite, that aggression. I really want to see him plant his feet. He's a lovely boxer. He shows all those skills that he's learned at Finchley in the amateurs. Lovely boxer. I really want to see him actually put the pain on somebody, and so many of his fights he wins comprehensively, but I think there are times when I just want to see him look to get the guy out of there, and I really want to see that out of Ollie in these fights, certainly this Harry Matthews one.
Yeah, well that gives him an opportunity, because Harry doesn't stand there and cover up. Harry will come for Ollie, so therefore Ollie's got the chance to showcase that. We can't now say, oh, it's a journeyman that's covering up.
Yeah.
He is going against somebody who is vulnerable, because Taylin Jones put Harry down a couple of times.
Yeah.
So he's vulnerable, and he will come for Ollie. So therefore, he's got the chance to shine.
Yeah, I'd love to see that of him, because I like Ollie a lot. He's a nice, lovely bloke. I really want to see, and he's opened his own gym.
It was Saturday. I was trying to get down there, but I'm going to struggle because it's 2 o'clock in the afternoon. I've got to be at the O2, so I was going to try and get there, but I'll pop down and see him another time. So Ollie Pattison's on the bill. Adrian Martin, looking forward to the return of Adrian.
Yep.
7-0. He's not that far off titles, and he's gone through a lot of personal issues with Lauren.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to seeing Adrian back in the ring. Dean Richardson is one of our brightest young stars. Dean is somebody who I personally think we can get to the top. So I think he's a really bright talent, and he's level-headed, gets the business, and as long as he keeps his feet on the ground and listens, and I think he will with Barry O'Connell and us, then I think there's amazing things.
He's a really nice lad, Dean. I've sat with him before over the cafe over the road from your call. Him and Jumah Camaro, another absolutely sound bloke, and just sat and they'll sit and talk boxing with you. They've got an interest in the sport. I think that always makes a difference. There's some lads that detach themselves from boxing when they're not involved directly, but they have a real interest.
No, that's right, and they watch everybody else's fights and follow it all. Reece Cattermole makes his debut.
Interesting story, isn't he, Reece? First registered deaf boxer in the UK.
So I'm really looking forward to seeing him. There's a lot of interest with him from television companies, BBC maybe, they're filming him. So it's great to see him, and it's really great to give him his debut. William Webber, I'm really excited to see back. He was the guy he was under Matchroom and Peter Sims. Now I've taken over. We're now going to build him correctly. He faces Goodwin Boxing, who's I think 2-4, so it's a relatively good test. But William, I think we can get him to the top as well. He's only young, and I watched the fight with Eric Mwenko the other day again, and he's got everything there. But I'm glad his dad's now training him, will be in his corner. I think that's important. Mo Gharib.
I like Mo. Gharib, exciting talent.
So he's lightweight, very skillful, likes to drop his hands, showboat. But Mo's back out again and got high hopes for Mo. He wants to call everybody out. Debut of Robbie Chapman, another of Xavier Miller's lads. Robbie's.
How's he got the time from?
He's got 10. I think he's got 10, but he's stopped now.
Is he?
He's stopped now. He's not, unless they're exceptional. He's not taking any more.
He's a busy man, isn't he? But that's testament.
So is Barry O'Connell.
Well, yeah, absolutely.
Talking about Barry O'Connell, we've got Bradley Spencer out on the card.
The QPR loving.
Yeah, 1-0. He's now, lovely kid. He's now back out having his second pro fight. Ellis Zorro, Daily Perales from the All-Stars, and Daly's making a great impact as a trainer. Ellis Zorro is really improving vastly, and I'm really looking forward to Ellis boxing. Ryan Walker, Mickey Amu's featherweight.
I like watching Ryan.
Not far off the Southern Area title, Ryan.
With Ryan, I've never seen a featherweight that compact.
He's going to fight a super bantam,
Is he?
He's going to drop super bantam for titles.
He doesn't always necessarily carry that power into the ring with him. When I say carry the power, when you look at him, you couldn't draw somebody with a better physique than what Ryan has. But he can whack, but it doesn't necessarily translate into stoppages.
Lovely kid as well,
Yeah.
He was originally with Peter Sims. I don't keep repeating Peter, but he was originally with Peter, and Peter got rid of him because he said he just couldn't sell tickets. And
is that having a problem?
No. So I'm really happy that he's managed to do it. Really delighted that Curtis Felix is back in London. He's gone under the radar because he's been fighting on very small shows in Northampton,
hasn't he?
But he's been fighting on shows with 400 people there and stuff like that. But he wants to come back to London. He could be one of the surprise packages of our team.
Was his debut against Jack Green?
Yes.
Where he stopped Jack.
And
when I saw that, I haven't seen him since that fight. But I was really impressed with him that night.
He could be a little jewel in the crown, Curtis, and I'm looking forward to seeing him out as well. The man who is making big waves, 25 in the country now, Adrian Burden.
25th. You're Sam Eggington. I always say this.
Is that what you say?
Yeah, he's your project.
And he's a great kid and a great family. And to be honest, he's got the hardest fight he's had. I'm increasing it. He's going up to 6 rounds. He's fighting that Elliott. Elliott has been in with them all. Do you remember the big bald-headed bruiser?
That doesn't narrow it down how the Eastern European
fights everybody. You'll see when he comes. He's a really rough and tough
I
know
the stocky one.
Yes.
Right. Yeah.
So he's going to bring it to AD. He always tries. So with AD, we're increasing his quality of opponent each one, but he's only very young. He's 22, and he's already ranked in the top 25 in Britain, which is fantastic. With very limited experience before he turned pro.
AD will always go in there and look for a fight. For people that. And I've said this before, and I've said it to AD, and I don't know if I've said it to Ollie. That's a fight. I don't get any say in your matchmaking. Ollie Pattison versus AD Burden is a fight I want to see down the line. I don't get any say in your matchmaking, or else I'd have it done for next week. But I just think those two would mesh brilliantly. You'd have the lovely style of Ollie and the raw grit.
Well, I've just introduced it to him for sparring,
Have you?
Yeah.
I want to go watch that.
Hopefully in the next week or so they're sparring, because I did introduce them.
I want to go and watch that. I just think those two styles would make a really interesting fight.
We've then got Jonathan Palata, the Dancing Destroyer heavyweight, making his debut. So excited to see that. Graham Everett actually contacted me last week and said, we've been down to see some sparring with Jonathan Palata. He's very, very good. And that came from Graham Everett, who's obviously got Sam Sexton.
Yeah.
So he knows, and he actually sent me a text to say how good he thought John Palata was.
John Palata comes to me, highly recommended from my friend Terry. So that'll be an interesting one.
And another title challenge belt on the card is one of boxing's nice guys, Darrell Church.
Lovely bloke. He
is fighting Daniel Borisov in a challenge belt, and I think Darrell is somebody that's he's a pleasure to deal with, and he didn't have the best start to his career before he came to us. We built him up. He took the Jordan Joseph fight in an eliminator, didn't go his way, and I know he's desperate for the rematch with Jordan, but it's not about rematches. Maybe he will get it, maybe he won't. It's about Darrell. I always say, Darrell, your career's about Darrell Church, not about Jordan Joseph and avenging losses. Don't worry about the losses. It's just about going forward.
Probably his best performance last time out, the Ricky S.
I think Darrell is improving, and I'm looking forward again to see him improve again, because Darrell's not far away now from title contention. So I'm really looking forward to Darrell. Nick Perpa returns, the cruiserweight. He had obviously a setback a while ago. Came back with a win on a David Haye show. He's had an injury, had a bad back and had to pull out, but he's now back. He's now fighting the guy that decked Daniel Mendez in the first round.
Oh, okay.
So it's a little bit of a test for him, so I'm quite happy to see it. Louis Isaacs is having his second pro fight. Really exciting fight from Islington. And last but not least, Deion Jumah. One of the brightest talents in the stable. Deion fights Rudan, which is a very good...
Thomas Rudan, is it?
Thomas Rudan. He goes in with everybody, so he's a very good yardstick. But Deion Jumah now is after this fight, he's chasing everyone down. He's chasing Okoli. He'll be chasing Watkins, but Watkins will be fighting Okoli and probably doesn't win, but we'll see. He wants to fight Waddy Camacho, but Waddy's obviously got his eyes on the Commonwealth title, but he wants anybody.
He wants belts.
He wants belts now. So after this fight, I said to Deion, we'll sit down and make a plan for you.
How does that work? Because he's got two phases to his career. The first part, and then he took the time out, and now he's back. He's had his return, and this is second. How does that work when you go to, say, the board and say, I want the English cruiserweight title fight? Say if he wanted Arfan Iqbal.
Yeah.
Do they take into account that first phase?
Yes.
Okay, so it doesn't matter that he had the period out.
No, what they may do is look and say, well, Deion hasn't had a 10-rounder. He's not fought for an area title. Doesn't mean he won't get it.
Yeah.
But he's therefore not necessarily in that position to do that. Do I want him to fight Arfan Iqbal? No.
I do.
I'm sure you do.
I'm just a fan.
Well, Arfan's got to fight Simon Vallely, and to be honest, I think, and if I look at both of them, Arfan Iqbal is Deion Jumah's worst nightmare.
Yeah.
And Deion Jumah is Arfan Iqbal's worst nightmare.
Yeah.
So it's really putting two fighters in the worst possible fights that you would ever choose for them.
Yeah.
So really, that's not.
So presumably, you want Arfan to come through Vallely and then look up towards Matty Askin at British level or whoever else is British champion.
Yeah. I mean, he's going to be chasing them down after Arfan. If he beats Vallely, then he's going to be chasing, and I think he will. He'll be chasing everybody down. But it's really good. We've got some really good cruiserweight bunch, haven't we? Camacho's going for the Commonwealth. Arfan's going for the English. Deion's hunting everybody down. The cruiserweight is a very exciting division, and then behind that we've got Jose Lopez coming up for the area belt. Danny Cousins returning at area level.
Ozzy Gervais
is really improving, coming back. We've got a really good bunch of cruiserweights. Ultimate Boxer, do us a favour, do a cruiserweight one. But yeah, so it's a very exciting division for us.
Yeah. All right. So I think that runs through the entire card. Next week you're away in Turkey, so we're going to try and do an audio version of this, slightly less visual, but we'll see what we can cobble together for that.
Yeah.
At which point we can run through a little bit more in depth, maybe looking at the headline fights out of that.
Yeah, don't forget we got the big show at O2 this weekend.
Well, yeah.
So I'm going to that, so I'm really looking forward to that.
Yeah. Who have you got?
I honestly, it's really hard because I'm not privy to watching David Haye train.
Yeah.
If he's, I think there's only one winner. I think David Haye wins, unless the wheels are falling off behind the scenes, and that I don't know. I watched the press conference yesterday. I get a feeling. I do get a genuine feeling that David Haye is in a good place.
I think you'll never say he's back. He's never at the McCormack stage of his career. He never will be.
But I think he's in a good place. I think he looks better. I was talking to Peter Fury about it yesterday, but he looks leaner, thinner. And Peter Fury said one thing. He said, I never understood why David Haye bulked up.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't make you a harder puncher by bulking up. It just takes away your speed and your accuracy. And do you know what I think?
He knows his stuff.
And he said to me, it never made any sense to him. And I listened, I thought, you're right. You're so right. And now he's obviously slimmed down. He's going for the more speed. So if he's got it together, I think he beats Tony.
Yeah.
But that's what I believe, and I think David wins unless the wheels are falling off behind the scenes.
Yeah, and I mean he releases the little 30-second Instagram videos of him running the ladders.
Unfortunately, fights are not 30 seconds long though, are they?
Yeah,
36 minutes long.
Yeah, I mean you can make the argument he couldn't have done that same exercise prior to the last fight because he'd have broken down running those ladders, but. Yeah, I'm not wholly convinced. I'm going to go with Bellew.
So you think the wheels are falling off?
I do. I think. Don't get me wrong. If it were PK, it's not a conversation.
But you agree though? In the first fight, he obviously went into the fight with an injury.
Yeah, you can see him hobble to the ring. He was dragging his leg.
But he was still winning for the first 5 rounds.
Yeah, and then he still, in my view, he didn't get overwhelmed for the remainder.
So therefore, that's what I'm saying is unless something's falling off, he wins. That's why I believe he beats Tony Bellew.
Yeah,
but we'll see. We'll see. I think it's a David Haye victory, unless. But I'm not privy to what's going on behind the scenes.
Yeah. I mean, what it comes down to is I wouldn't bet on David Haye lasting 10 rounds. I would maybe bet on David Haye lasting 4 and looking to get rid of him. But even then, like the Haye of the last fight, the first 4 rounds when he wasn't damaged, he couldn't really lay a glove on.
No, he couldn't. But
maybe that's because he was conscious of the injury.
Maybe because he was so heavy.
Yeah, and hyped up as well.
But the other thing was if you look at his second comeback fight, he didn't look good in that second comeback fight. His timing was out. The Cobra. His timing wasn't there, and his timing wasn't there last time. But there has been a change of trainer, and we're talking. Ishmael Salas is. I know Shane McGuigan is a good trainer, so we can't say. But obviously, somebody was involved in making him bulk up. And Ishmael Salas has brought him back to the slim version. So I'm excited about the fight. I'm excited. So
it's got a level of intrigue.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a good example of where you don't need questionable, dodgy world titles and other titles just to make an interesting fight between 2 old war horses that will go and try and smack each other around for a little while. By rights, that shouldn't be that interesting and a headline of a pay-per-view, but actually it's reasonable. Right, we're going to move on to the questions. So the first one I'm going to touch on actually comes back to the aforementioned press conference of yesterday, and Adam, who was Haye's kind of spokesperson for part of it. Question from Paul Oldtie: would Steve get up for one of his fighters and give a rousing war cry speech like Adam did for Haye yesterday?
No. I like Adam.
He's been slightly derided on social media.
He's actually a very intelligent man. He's David's lawyer, and but I just don't think that done him any favours yesterday. I almost. You remember this? He's a solicitor, right? So he stands up in courtrooms, I guess, and advocates cases against judges. But that didn't come across yesterday.
It almost. I'm sorry if Adam ever sees this, I don't mean it horribly, but it almost went off of the scale of being able to take the bloke seriously, and it almost just turned into this humorous, unintentional, like 1 minute at a podium that it was outside the realms of what I could take seriously. But
I just don't think the delivery was very good.
Yeah. Don't let him talk in Liverpool again.
So the answer to that is, Paul, I'm sure I will be up talking on behalf of boxers in some points in the future, but I won't be doing it that way.
Take a different tone.
Yeah.
Lee at Last Dart on Twitter: how was the sparring yesterday?
Great. Yeah, it was a pleasure to be invited up by Peter. It was a long drive to Bolton, so I watched our fans spar 3 rounds with Fury, and then Ty Mitchell, who's making a return to the ring, he done 3 rounds with Fury as well. Good to watch. Very interesting. I learned quite a bit from watching it.
Obviously, you can't give away details of.
We'd be wrong to for all parties concerned, but obviously it was very, very interesting.
But our fan can hold his own with heavyweights.
Yeah, I mean, I would. If you said who yeah, I mean, he can hold his own, but Huey's much bigger, longer arms, and it was very interesting because they've sparred quite a lot of time. So Huey obviously has learnt how to nullify Arfan. That was what you could see. Arfan's got his strengths, and Huey had learnt obviously from getting hit a few times in the past. But it was an interesting thing. Just totally off the subject of things. Huey was up in the north of England and bumped into Simon Vallely.
Oh, right.
And the conversation went something like, Simon Vallely said to Huey, "I'm fighting your man, I'm coming to get him." And Huey just turned around to Simon Vallely and said, "Good luck with that."
From what I understand, Huey knows how hard Arfan can punch. He knows how good a boxer Arfan can be.
So what he does it there, he knows, he's learned over many weeks, and Arfan's been trying for many weeks, he learns how to try and nullify that. And Huey looked very slick mover, caught Arfan a few times. It was really good sparring and very interesting to watch.
Yeah.
And Ty Mitchell is one awkward. Jesus Christ, you want to fight, he's a cruiserweight come back. His record isn't as good as he looks, but Jesus Christ, he's the most awkward cruiserweight to fight. You can see, I mean, God almighty, his hands are low, he bucks his head back. Huey was having trouble landing with him. Yeah. Very interesting.
So how long's Arfan up there for? Is he?
He's finished now because that was his last spar, Huey's. And
he's next weekend, isn't he? Against Sexton.
I saw Savannah Marshall there, and I had the privilege of talking to Peter probably for 20 minutes, 25 minutes, which was really, really interesting. I learned a lot talking to Peter. First time I've met him, and he's a proper decent man. Peter's
one of the nicest men I've ever spoken to. Like in boxing, he was over with Huey in Holland, where they used to, I don't know if they still do, a lot of their training camps. I interviewed him on the phone, and he must have given me 45 minutes of his time on the phone, and he just said, I'm sat around, I'm in a hotel room, I haven't really got much, I could go and see Huey for a bit, I'll do that in a while, but just take your time, like go through everything you want to run through. It was fascinating.
Great man, really good man, and I said to him, it was interesting, because he wasn't really a boxing coach, Huey was an amateur, and he just thought he could do better than them, and so he's just done it himself. So he's like a self-taught trainer, but he's brilliant. Yeah. He's a brilliant trainer. Look what he did for Tyson Fury. How people forget where Tyson was when Peter got him, and where Tyson ended when Peter finished with him. Yeah. And people don't mention that enough and don't realise that Tyson was nowhere near the same fighter.
And also, from what I understand of how Peter works, you see a lot of trainers that employ the pseudoscience side of things. Peter, I'm not saying that he doesn't pay attention to that, but he's very much back to basics. The training methods, you could probably have instilled the same training 50, 60 years ago, and Peter would be in his element doing that.
But the funny thing was, when they started sparring yesterday, so Arfan goes across, what do you want me to do, Peter? Just bloody hit him. That's what it's all about. And turned around to me and goes, "That's what it's all about, it? Just try and hit him." And that was it. That was the sparring. Just try and hit him. It was just straight to the point, and obviously what he was doing, because obviously Arfan is Sam Sexton is a short heavyweight, isn't he? Yeah. That's why Arfan is such perfect sparring. But it was really, really interesting. It was a great thing to go up there and watch it, so it was great.
Excellent. Final question, Mikey at Analyse Boxing. When we think of Goodwin Boxing in 5 years, what position do you think you'll be in? Good question,
Do we think or do we know? It's really hard in boxing, isn't it? Will we be here? Will I still be wanting to do it?
We have the appetite for it.
We'll have the appetite for it in 5 years, because
there's a lot of knobheads in this sport. They can wear it out here.
And they do. They wear you down. And dealing with these people is really difficult. So in 5 years' time, I'll be 61. Kevin will be 55. No. Kevin will be late 30s. Josh will be
late 30s plus VAT.
Yeah. Josh will be late 20s. So I don't know. Where would we like to be, and where do I think we deserve to be? I think we deserve to be have our own TV platform. I think that's what we deserve. I think we're good at what we do. We look after boxers honourably. So that's what I think where I would like to be. But what I have learned is that it's not how good you are, how ethical you are. Sometimes it's who you are, what you do, and certain other things that you wouldn't imagine make a difference to getting that. So that's what I would hope and think we deserve. But we have made massive strides at Goodwin Boxing. We signed a higher volume of fighters. I'd like to have had at least 2 world champions by then in terms of management. So we'd hope to progress, but 5 years is a long time. But I would hope that we would, as a promotional group brand, maybe have a TV platform to use, and as a manager I'd like to be handling world champions and still be looking after boxers and retain our reputation as being good people to work with, really.
There's a follow-up question to that, which isn't on this, but from my perspective, like as you say about age-wise, you're the oldest out of yourself and Kev and Josh and Olivia that work within it. Is it something that over time you'd like to involve them more on the public side of it, or handle stuff? I know they handle an awful lot in the background, including editing crappy videos on a Tuesday evening. But you know, when you've had enough and you can walk away and you can go and retire with Trish out to the house and enjoy life slightly more, which I realise will be a life change that I'm not sure you're ready for yet. But when that time comes, will it be then that, you know, Josh and Kev and...
Yeah, I mean, the point is that I think, being fair to both of them, there's two roles that they don't feel ready for yet. One is the front end of the management side. Yeah. Because the back end of helping me on the management side, which they do, they're fantastic at. But that's a different thing than going and seeing trainers and cultivating them and working with the boxers and working around the title opportunities and working around the intricacies of boxing. That's what I do. And secondly, they're not as happy in front or as comfortable in front of a camera as I am.
Which is why I end up here as well. Yeah. I should see them every week.
Yeah. So then, but in time, if you are going to make a path in boxing, you have to do those things.
And they're both actually very good in front of the camera.
Yes.
Both of them interview well,
aren't they?
Yeah.
He's not mad for Josh is not an extrovert. He just does his thing, and he's, you know, you could give him £1 million, he'd say thanks very much, and you wouldn't even know. You know, he just doesn't get excited.
I know Kev likes to sit in the background and do what Kev does very well.
Kev does a brilliant job. But he does it in the background. Yeah. He prefers that. He's like the John Wishhausen. Yes. You know what I mean? That's what I'd put Kevin in like.
It wouldn't all tick over without him, but you wouldn't know he's there from the outside.
Correct. So sometimes, I mean, John Wishhausen never got the credit he deserved for the roles he performed. We try and praise Kev when we can, but it's a team, and I believe we've got a brilliant team. Yeah. And I believe that hopefully we deserve success in the boxing business, but it's a hard business to stay in, because nobody out there that's watching this would understand remotely what you have to go through in boxing. You just wouldn't realise what you have to deal with, and if you did, you don't.
It's not as glamorous as people may assume it to be, and the stresses that come along with the rewards. There are times that I sit from the outside looking in, thinking there must be times you just think, "Oh, balls to this, I'm out." There must be.
Well, it is when I don't make my money from boxing. Boxing is a passion, and it's taken over. It's taken over a lot of my time, but it's not financial, that's for sure. Yeah. So you do, you know, sometimes when you have to deal with things, it's the bad things, it's horrible. But the nice things are so good. One thing I have got used to in boxing is for somebody stabbing you in the back and being an absolute arsehole, I just accept that as the norm now.
Off a duck's back now.
Yeah, I'm just used to it now. Was it used to upset me? Yeah. Now it doesn't. You just, when somebody is loyal and decent, you take that as, oh, that's really good. Yeah. Rather than accepting it as being the norm.
Yeah. Excellent. Well, hopefully that answered it for you, Mikey. Thank you, as always, for the questions. Apologies for the one that I forgot to grab earlier. But next week we're going to try and put together something audio-wise whilst you're out sunning it up in Turkey.
Absolutely.
What's the weather like out there at the moment?
27.
Is it up? I've been to Turkey twice. I don't think I've ever seen a cloud. It's insane.
That's great. Well, I'll sit there with a beer next week and we can have a chat while I'm...
Yeah, brilliant. I'll be at home with the kids. You sit by the pool.
Yeah, exactly. Sounds good.
Excellent. So, next week will be a little bit different, but thank you very much for watching, and take care.
Cheers.